When I was 17, I found out my college fund was gone. Not reduced. Not smaller than I expected. Gone. Every dollar my grandparents had spent years saving for my future had disappeared. First, I thought there had to be some mistake. My grandfather opened that account the week I was born. Every birthday, every Christmas, every special occasion, he added money to it. Whenever I thanked him, he would smile and say, "Education is something nobody can take away from you." For years I believed him. I studied hard. I stayed out of trouble. I spent weekends preparing for exams while my friends were out enjoying themselves. I wasn't asking for a free ride through life. I just wanted the opportunity my grandparents had worked so hard to give me. Then one evening everything changed. I was walking toward the kitchen when I heard my parents talking. My father sounded worried. "She's going to find out sooner or later." My mother's voice was calm. "What's done is done." I stopped walking. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. My father sighed. "I still think we should have told her." I stepped into the room. "Told me what?" The conversation ended immediately. Neither of them spoke. I looked from one face to the other. My stomach started twisting. "What's going on?" My father rubbed his forehead. My mother crossed her arms. Then she said something I'll never forget. "Your college fund is gone." For a second I couldn't process the words. "What do you mean gone?" Nobody answered. "Mom." "What do you mean?" She looked away. My father finally spoke. "We had to use it." My chest tightened. "Use it for what?" The answer felt like a punch to the stomach. "Emily's wedding." I stared at them, certain I had heard wrong. "You used my college fund for Emily's wedding?" My mother nodded, as if it were completely reasonable. My older sister Emily had gotten engaged 6 months earlier. She wanted a luxury wedding, a huge venue, designer dresses, fresh flowers imported from another state, a professional band, a photographer who cost more than most people's monthly rent. Apparently, she also wanted my future. "That money wasn't yours," I said. "She's your sister," my mother replied. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "That money was for college. You can take out loans." I remember those exact words. "You can take out loans." As if years of savings meant nothing. As if my future was disposable. As if I was. That night I cried harder than I ever had in my life. Not because of the money. Because of what it meant. For years I'd convinced myself my parents treated us equally. That night I finally accepted the truth. They didn't. And maybe they never had. A few months later, Emily got the wedding she'd always dreamed about. It was beautiful. At least that's what everyone kept saying. Hundreds of guests attended. The decorations were incredible. The food was expensive. The venue looked like something from a movie. Everyone was smiling. Everyone except me. Because every flower I saw reminded me of a textbook I couldn't afford. Every decoration reminded me of another semester I'd have to pay for myself. Nobody mentioned where the money came from. Nobody acknowledged what had been sacrificed. I sat through the ceremony feeling completely invisible. The day after the wedding, I made a decision. I was done expecting fairness from my family. If I wanted a future, I would have to build it myself. So that's exactly what I did. I got a job. Then another. Then another. I attended community college because it was all I could afford. I worked mornings, studied afternoons, worked nights, slept whenever I could. There were weeks when I felt completely exhausted. Weeks when I wondered if I'd ever catch up to everyone else. Meanwhile, Emily's social media was filled with vacation photos, beach resorts, luxury restaurants, designer handbags. She seemed to be living the life I was supposed to have. At least that's how it felt back then. But life has a funny way of balancing things out. While Emily spent money, I learned skills. While she chased appearances, I built experience. While she depended on other people, I learned how to depend on myself. Years passed. Slowly, things started improving. I graduated, found a decent job, then a better one, then another. Eventually, I moved into marketing and business consulting. I worked harder than everyone around me. Not because I loved working, because I remembered exactly what it felt like to have everything taken away. Failure wasn't an option. By the time I turned 30, I owned my own consulting company. By 32, I bought my first house. The funny thing is, None of it happened overnight. People often see success and assume it appeared suddenly. They don't see the years of sacrifice behind it. The missed holidays, the sleepless nights, the constant stress, the moments you wanted to quit but didn't. Then one afternoon, 8 years after Emily's wedding, my phone rang. Mom. I almost ignored it. We barely spoke anymore. Eventually, curiosity got the better of me. I answered. Immediately, I knew something was wrong. My mother was crying. Asterisk Sarah. We need help. Asterisk. I sat down. Asterisk, what happened? Asterisk. What she told me next shocked me. Emily and her husband had spent years living beyond their means. Luxury cars, expensive vacations, credit cards, loans, bad investments. Every time they ran into trouble, someone rescued them, usually my parents, until eventually there was nobody left to rescue anyone. My parents had borrowed money to help Emily, then borrowed more, then refinanced their house, then borrowed again. Now they were drowning in debt, and they were desperate. Asterisk, we don't know who else to ask. Asterisk. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. The irony was unbelievable. The same people who emptied my college fund were asking me for money. Part of me wanted to laugh. Part of me wanted to hang up. Part of me wanted them to experience exactly what I had experienced. Instead, I stayed silent. Finally, my mother whispered, Asterisk, please. Asterisk. A week later, I agreed to meet them. The moment I saw my parents, I realized how much had changed. They looked older, tired, defeated. The confidence they once carried was gone. My father barely looked me in the eye. Eventually he spoke. Asterisk, we were wrong. Asterisk. For years I'd imagined hearing those words. Now that they were finally being said, they didn't feel the way I expected. Because some apologies arrived too late to erase the damage. We should never have touched that money, he continued. My mother started crying again. Asterisk. We thought we were helping Emily. Asterisk. I nodded slowly. Asterisk. You were helping her. Asterisk. Both of them looked confused. Asterisk. What do you mean? Asterisk. I leaned forward. Asterisk. You helped her avoid consequences. Asterisk. Neither of them said anything. Asterisk. Every time she made a mistake, somebody rescued her. Asterisk. Silence. Asterisk. Every time life became difficult, somebody fixed it. Asterisk. More silence. Asterisk. You didn't prepare her for the real world. Asterisk. My father's eyes dropped toward the floor. Because deep down he knew I was right. Real love doesn't remove every obstacle. Real love teaches people how to overcome them. For years my parents had confused the two. And now everyone was paying the price, including them. In the end I helped, but not the way they expected. I didn't hand them a check. I didn't magically erase their problems. Instead, I paid for a financial advisor. I helped them organize their debts, create a realistic budget, sell things they no longer needed, build a recovery plan. It wasn't easy. Took years. But eventually they got back on their feet. As for Emily, for the first time in her life, nobody rescued her. She had to learn responsibility on her own. A lesson she probably should have learned years earlier. Today things are better. Not perfect, but better. My relationship with my parents will never be what it once was. Some wounds leave scars. But I've learned something important. For years I believed losing that college fund ruined my future. Now I see things differently. The money would have helped. There's no doubt about that. But being forced to fight for my future made me stronger, more disciplined, more independent. The people who tried to take my future accidentally taught me how to build one. And in the end, that's worth more than any wedding or any college fund. Because sometimes the greatest revenge isn't getting even. It's building a life so successful that the people who underestimated you are forced to respect you. The end.